upgrading to the VR gaming experience of life. So it is very difficult to explain, to people about treating life more as a gaming experience, but that is what it actually is once you start learning all the rules and the foundations of life, right? And yoga can be used as your gaming console or your tool for that, to upgrade and graduate the various levels in the game of life. So looking at it from a foundational perspective, you are born, imagine yourself coming like a gift package, right? And what you do once a package is produced in the world, you open the packaging and you take out the gift, and then you take it out of the box, and then all the little wrappings and the fillings and the packaging that is inside, you remove everything. And you now, once everything is removed, you're ready, you plug it on and power it up. And now, if it's a complex game control or something complex, you have to know, you need a user manual or know how to use it. And basically, you need to know what are the basic controls. So when you get a new upgraded phone, especially if you haven't upgraded your phone for a long time and suddenly you had the cash to be able to afford to do so. For example, let's say you had the iPhone 8 and you never had the money to upgrade, but eventually with the advent of AI and so forth, it's becoming, there are certain functions and features and upgrades that don't work in the iPhone 8 Plus. Let's say you had the 8 Plus, because this was what experience I had. And when I used to upgrade my phone, I said, why should I upgrade my phone when it's working? And it's like a major hassle to transfer everything. It's a long story. Everything is working, everything is fine, I'm fine with it. Not that I could not afford. I bought the latest phones for my staff and people around me who needed a phone, and of course I took them to the store of their choice. Generally, I preferred buying Apple products, and but if they insisted on Samsung, then that was the only choice that they gave me. They wanted between Samsung and iPhone, but most of them accepted the iPhone, buy the latest version and so forth. Eventually, because I needed to create videos, and the voice commands feature to activate, to start and stop the recording, with my camera away from me, and I'm being blind and I don't have someone to help me all the time. And when you want to create video content, you must be able to do that consistently on a daily basis. And initially I was trying to create large volumes of content, trying to do like 10 videos, short videos a day, right? One or two longer videos, like 20, 30, more than 20 minutes, more than 30 minutes, one or two of that. And the balance, like 5-minute clips. Because I'm blind, I couldn't navigate the software. I just made the shorter clips myself. It was easier than trying to figure out the software and trying to do everything and creating that. So that was the motivation behind me needing to upgrade. I needed to, when I'm upgrading, buying a newer version. So according to the advice of the AI at the time, I think it was in the beginning of 2025, right? Around February 2025. And that time, the latest version of iPhone was iPhone 16 Pro Max, right? The top version of it. So I said, okay, why waste money? What will work, right? So the minimum spec I required was the iPhone 10 and above, at that time, to work with a certain upgrade of ChatGPT for the latest upgrade at that time to work. And then I said, okay, let me go for either a 11 to 13, maybe get a 13. So they said, okay, buy 13 to 15, and 13 is good enough. 14, if 14, like two models down from the latest version, is going to serve my purpose and going to, be an amazing experience. It's going to be sufficient for any further upgrades that year and so forth. And I could buy it cash, and so forth. Then I thought about it and so forth, and then I said, no, let me just get the latest version. So, and the topmost model. So I'm good to go for a longer period. I don't need to worry about upgrading my phone very shortly. But of course, now with the advancements of AI and the chip already is heating up, it can't handle, the processing power and the capability of some of the softwares and the integrations and all that. So you need something really, so you need the most recent one. So I believe in the next few years, we have to be upgrading more frequently than in the past because of the massive changes in the software that's happening. So, that's the reason, I got it. And when you get it, now immediately I'm using smartphones for a long time, and then start to manipulate it, on my own and learning as I'm using it. So I'm an entrepreneur now currently for 30 years. And the turning point, there were many turning points in my entrepreneurial journey. The first turning point was the commitment, a strong commitment to once you enter the entrepreneurial field, that you understand what is the challenges and dangers. So I was fortunate. I studied a book on, the broad general principles of entrepreneurship. A book written by Eric Parker, Start Your Own Business and Make Lots of Money. Right? So it's an attractive title. And I'm originally from South Africa, and he's a South African writer, Eric Parker, and respected. So because I like to know the background of the author, right? And in South Africa, he's the one who made the Nando's chicken franchise very famous, and it was already international at the time. And he had already started the Seattle coffee shops and I believe the Cinnabon franchises. And at that time, he attached the Seattle coffee shops to a popular bookshop in South Africa. And I also did a MBA through a private institution part-time before changing over from my secure legal career in the Department of Justice to entrepreneurship. And we learned, my most exciting subject was marketing. I was very strong in accounting principles and so forth, and learning, of course, human resources management and strategic management was a bit complicated at that time for me to understand, because I'm trying to get the hang of. I thought the core is marketing, because when we were taught the MBA, they said that the most important director in a company is the marketing director, and generally the CEO of a company is selected from the marketing directors. Not always, but generally, like the most challenging. So I wanted to focus on mastering that aspect. And I didn't consider strategic, and of course we studied, it was very complex with the formulas and so, but marketing was very exciting because we're learning case studies of success stories, right? And how, people. So this was the first turning point, choosing the right tools, right, that one would need to become an entrepreneur. So the MBA that I did was designed for those who want to become successful as entrepreneurs, right? To give me the basic skills. And that was my intention behind studying it, right? And the second challenge was cash flow generation once I entered it, right? Of course, also a mission, right? I needed to know what I wanted to be an entrepreneur in. You can't just say entrepreneur what? Selling toys, selling software, selling AI, selling services or products or what it was. And I decided to go into, because everything bottom line is you're going to make a profit from some product or service that you sell. And I analyzed theoretically what is the biggest investment that people, because we are going to make a profit on something, right? X percentage on something. So you're going to make, people need, what they have to buy or they want to buy, and a lot of people are buying regularly. You'll never run out of customers. So for example, when I was in the medical university, I already had determined that after qualification I'm going to specialize in gynecology, obstetrics and gynecology. But I grew up and my mother was always complaining she's sick, very sick or extremely sick, right? And I noticed women is always sick, they have a headache, they're so weak. And I said, men are always strong. They don't want to go to the doctors. The women always want to go to the doctors. Better to be a woman doctor, right? And babies are always being born. So, and the population is growing. So obstetrics and gynecology, I'm going to get pregnant women. I'm going to run out of business, right? So I thought in those lines, right? And in law itself as well, when I changed over to law and I didn't like, I found that the medical field was not for me. My heart was not there. I didn't want to spend 13 years, studying something and specializing in something before I could, be qualified to practice in something that I was not happy in. So 3 years down the line, I gave it this thing. And I made my decision, and I said when I'm making my decision, I'm not going to regret it, right? So I changed. So this is related to the gaming experience of life, right? So from the legal field, I found it very exciting and amazing, but I was seeing that the private sector were earning very well, the lawyers and advocates, especially the advocates. And when one becomes a judge, before you become a judge, you have to be a senior counsel, a senior advocate, right? Or a barrister, right, in the UK. But I was in South Africa. So I said, okay, I'll go into the Department of Justice, from Department of Justice into prosecution, get thorough experience in regional court, in a higher court prosecution, and go into become a advocate, because there was one person that I saw that I engaged when I was practicing as a legal intern, studying and doing legal intern at the same time. He charged a fee which I thought was very high, right? For one appearance, it was like $2,000, right? So I charged the client $70,000, and I said, I'm the one getting the client for him. So because we as a law firm engage senior counsel, and senior counsel is not allowed to engage directly with the public. They only get referral from the attorneys themselves. So we prepare the brief and refer it. So their source of business is directly from attorneys. And attorneys is dealing directly with the open market, right? So me, in my mind, I'm not going to give someone else money, make them rich, and when I'm giving a client means they working for me, all right? So I can't give them $2,000 and make a $500 or $1,000 or $2,000. I want to make substantially more. And I found that the client was easily able to pay $70,000. I said, wow, right? So I'm using strategy, right, in that way. And I'm saying, hey, I'm thinking I want to become, a judge, because I was told by one of my principals that I worked with that to become a judge, they get a brand new S-Class Mercedes every 2 years. And I said, that's amazing. They must be getting a very high. So he said, no, before they even were appointed, they made so much of money as a senior counsel that they don't even need a salary as a judge, that they can, work without any income. And I thought that the highest level was in the league was to become senior counsel, and eventually the cherry on the top is eventually be appointed a judge and work up to become, one of the top judges in the country. Now I'm coming from South Africa. The judiciary is the highest authority in the country, higher than the legislature, higher than the parliament, higher than the president of the country, right? So a judge has got the power to remove the president. Between the title of president and title of judge, judge is higher in South African system. There's no status higher than that. And I was in line for going for that. And then when I got this client and I saw this guy who was charging this type of $2,000 just for one appearance, right? And he was considered very intelligent. And the way in which he argued the case was super amazing. So no, it's good because he spent 19 years experience as a public prosecutor, in the Department of Justice before he went into private practice. And he mentioned it, he's got 19 years of experience as a prosecutor, and that's how come he's so good in his argument strategies and so forth. I said, okay, this is a good thing. Let me leave private practice and go into, the judicial department to get experience as a prosecutor, that once I've got enough experience, go into private practice as an advocate and become senior counsel and make lots of money, right? And when I got this client and I eventually paid him $2,000 and I found that the client was prepared to pay, gave me one shot $70,000, right, for that one appearance, right? US dollar value. I said, hey, this is peanuts what the advocate is earning compared to the client of the advocate. Who is the client of the advocate? These are business owners, right? I said, okay, maybe I'll focus on only business clients. So my focus in law, I decided to focus on commercial law, right? And work on liquidations and sequestrations, because when someone is being sued in millions or tens of millions and so forth, and then we can use legal loopholes in sequestrations and legal to buy time, and we can get, and the people are prepared to pay us big money for that additional time, because we can delay legal proceedings against them by up to 2 years, 6 months to 2 years. And that 6 months to 2 years is sufficient for them to get another contract and fix everything and cancel, right? And we're getting top money. And the person who was specialized in it that I saw, he didn't even have a legal qualification. He said, why do I need? I'm just owning the company that's doing the service. I'm employing lawyers, law firms. You got law firms working for him and advocates working for him. And he had 5 luxury cars, and he had a big plot of land that you have to go over a small bridge to enter his property, surrounded by water. And he had 2 mansions side by side that looked identical. He said one is for him and his wife, and the other one is for his mother. He didn't want arguments between his mother and his wife, and he bought the same thing, right? And he had 5 luxury cars. I said, why so many cars? He said, no, the clients, why they're paying you big money is they must feel that you are wealthy, that you're not going to become wealthy with their money. So when he used to visit the client, he'll visit that same client with a different car every day. So Monday to Friday, he used different cars. And later in life, I did the same thing, So I treated it like a challenge and a game and upgrading. So it is going from a doctor who generally can't earn more than $1 million a year if he's lucky, right? Going into the legal field where you can make 70,000 in just one appearance, right? 70,000. You can easily make $1 or $2 million a month. What a doctor can take a year as an attorney, you can make it in a month, or even depending on the type of case, even in one appearance, right? As you're getting higher and higher, right? And then I found that, hey, the client who's prepared to pay me, that is a better thing. Why am I going to work for someone else, getting paid by someone else? Let me be in a position to be able to generate it. So it's the business people who's making it. And when I studied it, the book by Eric Parker said, if you want to, in the introduction, in the preface or introduction, right at the beginning, if you want to become open your own business because you can't find a job. Perish the thought. It is much easier to keep searching for a job until you find one than to start a business. And then the statistics were coming, 80% of the businesses is expected to shut down within 6 months of it starting off, new businesses. And of those that are remaining, another 80% will not make it to the 2-year mark. And of those who made it to the 2-year mark, very rarely 80% of those abandon and go back to their jobs, and so because of the challenges just to reach the 5-year mark. And to reach the 5-year mark is a very small fraction of percentage, very small percentage reach that. And 10 years, of course, a massive thing. So that's why I was very cautious. I knew I had a strong willpower. I had a lot of discipline. I had charisma in talking. I honed that. I felt I was a very sociable person, and I was an intelligible person. I mean, for crying out loud, I was in medical school, right? Made it to be selected as a medical student, and even got a prestigious scholarship, academic scholarship based on academics, right? And also my subconscious, and I had the right influence and mentors, because my father was an alpha personality, my mother was an alpha personality. So I felt I got the influence, the subconscious influences, and the drive, right? And the drive, and I could make it. So I want to go to the next level, right? So it's better for me to do it, and I understood. And when I went into it, initially I focused on marketing, but then I realized that the most important thing is strategy. And in the strategy, one of the principles is that you must be able to make something from nothing, right? One of the principles in the 36 Chinese Strategies for Business, it's a book written by the author Lan, L-A-N, Berku, B-E-R-C-U, B-E-R-C-U. I'm not getting any commission for mentioning this. It's a Vietnamese lady in the US, and these 36 Chinese principles for business is based on the Sun Tzu's 12, the art of war, the principles of war. And she said the principles of war apply in the principles of business, because both Chinese and Japanese philosophies, I don't know which one says which, but one says that business is war and the market is the battlefield, right? So the Chinese say the market is the battlefield, or the Japanese, one of the two, right? But business is war. And that's why the principles of war. So when I went to learn international business, right, as an entrepreneur, I took it firstly as a challenge that I must at least pass the 5-year mark, right? And then I know it's going to be very difficult. But for 6 years, I hardly earned any money. It's only after the 6th year, but I kept training myself and learning. I just said I don't have enough knowledge, and I did everything and anything to stay afloat in order to put food on the table, and barely being able to pay our living expenses. I was never up to date with my services, with my electricity and water. Never up to date. Unfortunately, in South Africa, the country where I was trying to develop, when you have a family and a home, and you go to the municipality and say, look, I can't afford the full amount, but I can afford this amount, they feel pity on you, and they allow you, as long as you're paying something, substantially, some percentage, reasonable percentage. Sometimes I had more money, I paid more, and sometimes, but I was never up to date. I was always owing like about 5 or 6 months in arrear in total, right? But paying every month, and you go there every month so that they don't cut your electricity. And this happened for about 4 years. Never ever came a time when I was up, until when I upgraded and was able to have the cash flow, and then I paid it all one shot, sold the house, and went to the next level, right? Was making $1 million a month and so forth after that, right? Suddenly, but stuck to it and keep learning different principles, and I found that strategy was the most important element in business, because I thought the principle of a CEO, the most important principle of the leader of a company is marketing, because that's what I was taught, that usually a marketing director. But when you become a CEO, you're not a marketing, your function is not marketing, right? You have a marketing director working for you. What is the thing that makes it? When I decided that I became a big fish in a small pond in a local country as South Africa, that I didn't know someone earning as much as me. I didn't meet anyone face to face who was earning more than me. And I felt that then I wanted to expand. I wanted to go to the next level, right? So I was treating life like the game. You know, when you master a level, you want to go to the next challenge, next level. The next level is more challenging. What is the next level? From being the big king in a like I felt I was a big fish in a small pond. So it happened by accident, because I went on a vacation to Dubai and I built myself up in the niche of real estate, because as I mentioned, I had to choose a product or service and something that people buy. I said, okay, strategically, people have to buy, something, and I have to make a commission on something. So let me sell houses instead of selling cars. Cars is an expensive thing. The most expensive thing a person is going to buy is houses, and people are going to buy, have to buy a house sometime or another. Those that are successful, and the commission on a house is going to be much more than a commission on a car. And then the commission on any product that people can generally buy, the mass market, right, from a large market. I theorized that way, and that's why I went into real estate and really struggled, in the beginning for 6 years, struggled in residential real estates, right? And then when I went on a visit to the Dubai, and of course, after 10 years in that field, like 4 years successful in a row, selling an average of 20 houses a month that I was buying in auctions and selling and making an average of $1 million a month, right, in US dollar value. When I went to Dubai, I decided to visit some of the real estate owners to see what is their secret, right? Because I'm in that sector. Let me visit, and I was fortunate to meet the right person. When I met him, he was in a building called the Posh Building on the main, this is 2006, the main, business hub was Sheikh Zayed Road, right? And his office was along Sheikh Zayed Road in the Posh Building, right? So Posh is, of course, a Fortune 500 company. Everyone knows what is Posh, like in a Ferrari building or something, right? So he's in a Posh building. And his office was absolutely amazing. And he had just himself, a receptionist, and his, let's say his wife, but he didn't call her his wife. Maybe his woman is what a very beautiful woman he had. And he was a middle-aged man in his 50s, probably early 60s. Emirati, but not dressed in the traditional Emirati clothing like the white gown outfits or the ganduras, right, what they call them. He dressed in a proper formal suit, and he had a driver that brought him to work and took him. And the driver also seconded as a tea boy, to make tea and coffee for the visitors. And when I was talking to him in his office, his wife brought in special delicacies that she had baked at home for him, and with honey, in a like a pastry thing, honey in the middle. And she told, and he said, because I was a guest and I was also dressed in a suit, and I'm also a business owner from South Africa, and he saw me as a potential investor. So he owned the real estate company, and he offered for me as well. And she was a bit upset that because she made this specially for him, and why is he offering it, to a guest like me? And I could see her face a little stubborn and sour, that, she wasn't too happy that, he's sharing what, but he, we seemed to connect. And I asked him, how much do you make? He told his background was he was a CEO for a French company in France. And they called him, the purpose of the CEO was the company was not doing well, and they bring in a new CEO to turn things around. And he turned things around, and he cashed his shares and so forth. He spent 12 years. And in that period, he made a network of friends that were investors, and he came and used the money that he's acquired and saved, from his shares and what he sold, to purchase, to invest in his own real estate business. And he invested in buying large plots of land, and he got an architect to develop a full building, to draw the plans for a full building, and to get things started, and approved licenses and all that approved, and construction to be approved, and get the right construction company, deposits. It's an involved process, very expensive, hundreds of millions of dollars, right, involved, or millions and millions of dollars just to get it started. And there must be a huge security deposit placed and so forth. But he was selling the full buildings, minimum full floor at a time, because he had already established his client base in the 12 years that he spent in France, with the idea that he going to get the investors. And he was selling multiple buildings in a year, and he was making $1 billion dirham, right, in dirham a year, which is like about 250 million, 270, 280 million US dollar a year. He said, if you're not making $1 billion a year, don't even call yourself a small businessman. I said, small businessman making $1 billion a year? I was only making $1 million a month, right? Not 1,000 million a month, right? So whether it's 200 billion dirham or $1 billion, it's like, that's a league on its own, right? 1,000 million, right? I never thought so big in my life. And he's not saying this is the top of the echelon. It's just a small, you must not even call yourself a small businessman. I said, what do you mean? That's a lot of money. He said, no, the big business, this is big business. He said, no, big business people are making obscene amounts of money you can't even imagine. I said, but I don't see it. He said, they don't disclose it to the stock market and to the international world. They are making very massive amounts of money. That got me very excited. I said, hey, I want to stay here. I want to upgrade. I don't want to be very rich and very wealthy. I want to be billionaire. Right? And because he says, don't call yourself, and I'm calling myself an entrepreneur, and I'm calling myself a successful businessman. I didn't even dream of making $1 billion a year. So going to the next level, right? So was it easy, right? No. Did I become? Yes, I became an asset value, right? Asset rich, but always trying to go to the next level because it's not an easy field, right? To go from millionaire mindset to billionaire mindset. I think I haven't really got it fully yet. I'm maybe starting to understand it after more than 20 years, right? In trying to be billionaire, right? So when the COVID happened, I decided that my next level, I became billionaire in asset, right? After 17 years in Dubai. It took me 9 years of struggle before I could earn any reasonable amount of living income. And then I was able to afford, luxury items and so forth. For 9 years, I earned almost no money, and buying tuna cans in bulk for 3 months at a time, so that I eat, like the Arabic pita bread and just tuna, so they have protein. So in the event I don't have enough money for food, buy a sandwich, like they have the informal shawarma as my dinner, which was like 2 dirham, like 5 dirham you can buy a shawarma at that time. And for breakfast, have a 5 dirham breakfast, right? And going and selling electronic devices and medical devices just to keep myself afloat in the cash flow to develop. And I decided to focus on commercial real estate. I only started to succeed because the Dubai market was so big. It was so amazing. There had so many projects and so many companies. So they said you cannot be successful until you have a focus. You must focus on specializing on something. It took me a good few years before I decided to specialize in premium commercial real estate brokerage company, right? So to sell full buildings, 5-star hotels, and lease premium retail spaces in high-end malls like the Dubai Mall and the Mall of Mall of Emirates and so forth, because high-end people, companies could not acquire a space, even though they may be three generations in part of the GCC countries, originally from Kuwait, third generation, even with 14 fashion boutique stores in all the other major malls except the two top malls, right? There was my first client, right? He was in 14 other stores. He just wasn't in that. And he told me he was in the waiting list for 5 years and he couldn't get in. When he met me, because I was always networking with the CEOs, and he was the highest authority for his company. It was a top company, and meeting that maybe they're going to have some commercial requirement. They're going to need a big plot of land to build a factory or something, or maybe they're into buying a full building or something. And I happened to meet with him, and trying to encourage them to do investment and so forth. And when I spoke, and my focus in Dubai was not to make money, was to build my network. And I knew that to be billionaire, I needed the right network. So at the time when I left Dubai, I still hold a database of investors, got their names, got their passport numbers, got their name of their company of over 1.1 million, right? Database of people with their WhatsApp number and everything. And I used, SMSs to send them text messages and promotions and so forth. And I used to send them emails, every day, 10,000 emails a day, so that every 90 days, every 100 days, I finished 1 million, right? So I didn't want to send them emails like every day, right? I wanted to approach so that they know who I am, I'm available, because they have a difficulty that they want to go into and minimum commission I charged was 2 million, right? Initially was 500,000 dirham, then I went to 2 million dirham, then I went to $2 million. And minimum commission to sell 5-star hotels, I managed to get a connection that I believe that no one else has got this connection as what I have. I'm able to sell I get access to the most number of owners of the 5-star hotels in Dubai than any other person in the world, right? I've got connections. Which means if one of the prince of Saudi Arabia wants to buy 10 5-star hotels, which are premium locations, I'm the only one within 48 hours can give him a list, because these hotels are not on the sales list and they're not advertised for sale. Right? I can connect with all the owners and convince them to sell, right? And the princes, they come with a 10 billion budget, right? Like that, right? So some of the hotels which are not on the list are, they put in certain people in the front, but some of the sheikhs are the real owners, right? And I've got access to the sheikhs, right? There was a company that wanted to invest in a 5-star hotel, and the owner didn't want to sell, but through the influence of the sheikh's office, a person that I knew, of influence, that knew someone, that knew someone, that knew someone. It's who you know, right? And you have to build your strategy in knowing the right people. So how is this relating to the game of life? And the thing, because people not interested in mindfulness practice, calming the mind, and all. My core background, my foundation from childhood was yoga meditation, right? From childhood. And I attained the level of enlightenment by the age of 19. Now, which means the higher energy centers in my subtle body the doors were unlocked for me. And the tools of yoga is used to develop. As you're developing these higher centers, then it will result in your status in the community, in anything that you are in. If you decide to focus on only religion, then you'll become one of the foremost religious people, like foremost priest or speaker, or if you decide to become a speaker online, you'll become one of the top trending ones, right? So I decided to start this channel, just slightly under a year ago. Today, as I'm speaking today, is 17th of August. So on the 24th of August, I eventually was able to do this on a regular basis, on a daily basis, creating content. With 3 years struggling after I made the decision to start making 3 different channels that collapsed because I tried different ways, getting people to help me, and I was already blind. And the blindness came as an advantage because I wanted to create an online portal, I think about 10 years prior to now. And I already created the website that was at that time, now the current website, yogawellness786.com. It was on yogawellness786.wordpress.com. It was free before. And I was putting in the basic principles, of the different levels from what I felt to be simplified way. And I didn't develop it much because I was busy involved trying to do that part-time and focusing full-time on my commercial real estate activities and making commercial brokerage. So when COVID came in and we lost multiple million, I fortunately never lose my asset base. I leveraged a lot of I had to sell a lot of my assets, of course, but still my asset value is I'm still a billionaire in asset value, right? Not in liquidity, but in asset value. But it's not, and I don't want to sell them, right? It's things that I own, around and that I managed to purchase during my time. Because what do I have to show? People are going to say, what do I have to show? I didn't want to only have the knowledge. So the knowledge that I gained and the network that I gathered, I thought my asset is going to be with the people of influence that I know. But I found that the people of influence, they are not wealthy because of who they know. They are wealthy because of strategy implementation. They are the best strategist. So yes, connections are important. It's part of the building block. Then I decided to focus on strategy. When I was in South African market, I was doing very well using the normal MBA strategies and strategies like the Tony Robbins and self-mastery and all that worked in Western countries. In the Middle East, none of that worked. None of that. 9 years I struggled until I said, let me bring in the 36 Chinese strategies for business. These, so why I like that book by Lan Berku, because she, for every strategy, gives examples of multiple Fortune 500 companies that implementing those strategies in a legitimate and a ethical way. Because these 36 Chinese, they are basically deception strategies. But not to use it as fraud, because you can't do it as fraud, right? It's designed mainly, if you see it on face value, these are all fraud and lying, cheating strategies, right? But we learn to use it in a legal way, and you call it like marketing is depending on your branding. Your branding means when people see your name everywhere and regularly they see you all the time, seeing your content appearing and it's quality content and something unique that you're talking, then they feel that, hey, this guy, maybe he knows what he's talking about, right? Because he's creating content all the time, and now he's got over 1,000 videos, which I have over 1,000 videos in less than 1 year, right? And now I decided to, as I'm engaging with the channel, so I've got very few subscribers at the moment, as of date now, with over 1,000 videos, almost a year, right? I only got 73 subscribers, but it's a learning experience because I'm going into the Red Sea. YouTube is the Red Sea. It's not easy to crack open. Not anyone can come and start creating volumes of video and just by numbers game, just going to crack the market. Then, because people get an AI to create 50 videos a day and then they're going to be trending. So that's not going to happen. So I try to create quality in different ways. Then I refined it and I'm looking at other people who are trending and following it more. Then I decided, let me create one quality video, one long form quality video just about a few days ago, right? And I'm creating that, but from interaction with the market and seeing, and it took me about just under a year to realize that because you can only learn while you're engaging with it. And while you, with real life, really, you can learn all the theory, all the YouTube strategies and all that, not going to till you physically doing it yourself and experiencing it for yourself. You can do all these training courses, certification courses and all. It's not going to work in the real world of business. Real world of business, people without any qualification, even don't know how to read and write, can become a billionaire. A person who's got autism, or autistic person can become the first trillionaire in the world, right? So, or the first quadrillionaire in the world, right? It doesn't mean, so it is about the strategy implementation and the mindset, and a more evolved mind, more shrewd, a more cunning, or more strategic thinking mind can think on a higher level. So no one knows better than people who are advanced in yoga, who's attained enlightenment level, who's seen what is the function of opening the third eye fully and how amazingly that your brain can work. And you got the tool of a better strategic thinker, and you start honing your major chakras, like your personality, your connection with your foundation, your connection with your creativity, your connection with your self-esteem and your power, learning strategies, how to increase your power, learning how to empathize and find solutions for the market at large, or your niche, right? Giving them genuine solution, because nothing going to work without genuineness, right? There must be something of benefit, intrinsic value, right? So I'm describing now the features of the various chakras. In my mind, I'm saying, okay, root chakra, your foundation, you're creating your cash flows, a foundational company. What is the foundation, right? So my foundation for my online business now, to bring it, to the online platform, is my YouTube, to create quality content on Apple Podcast and Spotify. These are major channels. And in my blog post, right, my WordPress blog site, to create, to blog daily, and use Kindle to write my book. So I'm already busy writing my 10th book currently. And eventually I found, because I don't want to get an investor to dictate to me how I should do, and get a publishing company to decide how my story should be told, and I want to say it the way I want to say it. I want to have full copyright on it all the time, 100% ownership of the copyright, and on a platform that's big, and I don't have a massive budget to market it or anything. So I strategically found Kindle publishing, right, is the best option. So I'm almost ready. I've completed now, 9 books already, 8 books. The 7th book is a work in progress, on autobiography of a modern yogi, right, on myself. And I've already got the material. It's just to go through the process of putting it in a written format. And then from the written format, it has to go to, the editing, from the editing into, and all strategies involved, right? I did a lot of training in content creation from leaders that are currently very successful in the field, right? So I'm able to think diversely and strategically and so forth, because of my higher thinking capability in my advanced level of yoga meditation. And I learned how to start refining through a quantum level to get the added advantage, using yoga as a tool, the different qualities to engage with success in the business environment. Yoga for business success, life success, social success, but I'm using it specifically for business success, entrepreneurial success. So I'm not worried about, if I want to just retire, I can just, I can find a way to be comfortable, sell one of my assets, and, just go to some place and just sip cocktails and sit on the beachfront with 2, bikini models on either side, of me, and have a driver, to drive me in a Rolls Royce, right? A Rolls Royce is not that expensive. It's £500,000, right? You can own a top level a Rolls Royce Phantom with a long wheelbase, right? Sit in the back seat with my two bikini models on either side and enjoy life. No, I want to be engaged it's like a game of life. Now, how is games working? A game works, you start from level 1. Once you've passed level 1, you go to level 2. Now, level 1, in order to go to level 2, you must overcome all the challenges of level 1. And once you've overcome the challenge of level 1, then level 2 opens. When you go to level 2, you get higher challenges. So my first challenge in the game of life was I was coming out like 28 out of a class of 30, in junior primary, right? And there was no way in hell. I'll come from a small unknown town. Even in my country, if I mentioned the town from which I came, they never heard of it. But they heard the major city to which it is related, but that town they never heard. They generally know which town. I have to say near to this or near to that, this thing, right? That is how small town it was. And it was a freaky name as well. And it's like from an unknown town, and I'm an unknown person. And the bottom, my first challenge was I wanted to get admitted into medical university, which was impossible. But I created a strategy, a formula, and I worked on it. And incrementally, I put in hard work together with yoga. It's not like yoga suddenly came like a miracle drug and I made it. No, I had to put a lot of hard work together with it. And together, I had the foundational support, like the tools, the powers to work together with hard work. Because hard work alone is not enough. You have to work hard plus strategy. Strategy is using the right tools, having the right connection. Yoga was my right tool, right? My foundational tool and my discipline, right? And hard work combined. And eventually I was coming in that, came out 13th while I was still in primary school. By the time I was in junior high, I was coming on the top 10. And by the time I graduated high school, I was in the top leagues, of the country, producing top results, and made it to get accepted into a medical. Once I got accepted into medical university, I started to ace the exam so easily, and even won one of the most prestigious scholarship that I knew of. I didn't know of a better scholarship than that, but highest, and it was an American foundation. It was from the Kellogg Foundation scholarship, right? And I was getting it in US dollars, in a country, the third world country. My first allowance, we get an allowance 3 times a year. My first spending allowance, I bought a car cash, second-hand car, student car, but I bought it cash, right? My allowance was more than most average people's salary in this thing. From there, I went into the top leagues, into the legal field. It is like really amazing and interesting, and you are like the lion, like an alpha male. Right? You're not like a quiet little doctor attending to patients and, overworking and trying to make the sick people. And these people know you, as a status in society. Now you like roaring like a lion because you are facing and fighting battles, legal battles, right? On behalf of your client, right? And it's like in the forefront of the war, right? You're like the army, like you're making strategies on how to win this case and so forth on behalf of your client. Very exciting. From there into entrepreneurship was the next level, right? I came to the top. I already had the justice training scholarship. I knew that I could reach the top echelons, and I found that there was another level higher. The business people were the higher people. So I decided, and I could scale up, right? So from the business, when I eventually worked and I became the top, I struggled 6 years, right? Delivering pizza, selling toys, knocking door to door, right? And for years, right? People were laughing. This is a dropout from medical school. He's a dropout from, he couldn't become a doctor. He couldn't become this is what the people are perceiving. They're not seeing it from I didn't care what they were saying. I had a strong self-esteem and strong willpower. And I was aiming, and I conquered that level, and I went to the international market, right? From $1 million a month to become billionaire in asset value. And when the COVID hit, I used that as an opportunity Because a friend of mine during the COVID lockdown period, he also, we all lost our businesses. The business that the multi-billion-dollar business that took me 17 years to develop in Dubai, I just lost it like that, overnight. Not only because of COVID, COVID came as a grace to give me time out to rethink my next step. Because once you reach higher power level, there is other people more powerful than you that can eliminate you and squinch you and make you zero, right? So that's what happened to me, and I learned that. That was exciting to me, to know about power struggle, right? And your enemies are the sheikhs of the country, right? Or the right hand of the sheikhs of the country, right? You are rubbing shoulders with people that can do money transfers around, who have access to IBANs in over 190 countries, right? Except just a few countries. So investors want to transfer like the biggest transfer that I handled on behalf of client was he needed to transfer 19 billion US dollar into Dubai. And it's not, if you're transferring that type of money, even no matter how wealthy you are, your money will be, I think the World Bank or the International Corporate or the CIA, they freeze it and they'll investigate it for 6 months and then they'll release it after. So you don't want his money to be frozen. But if you're using an IBAN that has got clearance for that level, on the sheikh's level, so I had access to that, right? So people could transfer that amount of money without it being frozen. And people can clear their funds with one swipe of their card, 20 million euro, bypassing the central bank, not illegally, legally. There are machines called offline machines, right? That is for high-end clients that are doing high-end purchases, and there is high-end systems that are, that you qualify. You got the type of card that clears instantly from your account directly into that person's account. Doesn't have to go through the central banks and so forth. So I wasn't like a lot of people are short-sighted. They want to make money. Oh, well, I want to be a millionaire. I'm going to retire. No, I'm playing game, not the life, not from what I'm going to do with money. Eventually get old and die, right? So, and you're going to just sit boring. You're going to have, I had the money, right? I had the lifestyle. It's very boring once you have it. Where's the challenge, right? So it's more exciting to live in the challenge, right? And to go to the next level, right? So I was able to scale myself from an unknown town. Even when they asked me in Dubai, where do you come from? I say, South Africa. Oh, okay. Which country in South Africa? I said, no, my country is called South Africa. They didn't even know my country exists in the international market, right? Although I felt that South Africa, because of Nelson, I have to say Nelson Mandela. Ah, yes, we know Nelson Mandela. That country, yes, that country. So, even the country is unknown, my town is unknown, and I'm rubbing shoulders with billionaires. And then my friend, who was also a billionaire, he said, because always through all my business, this is yoga, meditation, my passion, always, and wellness and nutrition. I'm always talking about it, always practicing. And I was doing it open doors in a park, and he also came to the park, and he saw and he asked someone, who's this guy, right? So amazing is obviously a middle, because I was over 50 years old at the time when he saw me, and I'm now 57. And this was just when I turned 50. He said, this guy, wow, he's amazing. He can twist himself, into a pretzel at that age. And I seemed to be doing it. And I had a very pleasant, and I was very open and always talking to people and trying to call people to come exercise with me. And people didn't want to do yoga. So I did both yoga, because I do both yoga and fitness. So people were more interested in fitness than yoga. So I also had fitness classes, and they couldn't keep up with me, because when I'm doing, my stomach was, I do 5,000 crunches a day, right? That is my protocol, and 1,000 squats and 500 push-ups, right? So I do it in a series, 5 different types of crunches and sets of 200. So I do 200, 200 for the 5 different types, that's 1,000, and do 5 sets of that. So that's our 5,000 crunches, right? So like to do 200 leg lifts is like easy peasy for me, right? as a 50-plus-year-old, right? And there were this other guys were coming to the park, and also it was COVID time, and we had this time that we could come in the park and exercise, and really well-built, muscular guys. You could see the arms, and they on probably steroids and heavy weights that I can't even dream of lifting as well, right? And they were, this thing. So the one guy was doing leg lifts, and he was struggling and counting. He's trying to do sets of 20 or something, right? I said, I can do 200. He said, I can't even do 50. Well, I can't even do 20. I want to see it. And that guy was around 30 years old, right? And I was 50 something. I said, okay. I just lay down suddenly, and I started to go. Boom, 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 boom. And I went 50. He's counting. I said, you count 50, 100. Hey, he said, okay. You prove. I said, no, carry on. I'll do it. 150. He said, no, stop. I know you can do it, right? He couldn't believe. And there was another guy who heard about it. He was 19 years old, and he was definitely a billionaire, right? Because I used to network with these high-end type of people. And he was smiling, and the people said, let's challenge you. I told him, I challenge you to a plank. And I had eyesight that time, right? I could see his body. And he said, of course, I take the challenge. You are a 50-year-old man. You are not working out like me, right? I'm just doing yoga and my fitness, right? And he took the challenge for a plank. Whoever can last the longest, in the plank can win. So we decided to do a 5-minute plank, right? So we were counting up to 500, and if you can go longer, then I said, no, I know I'm stronger than you, so you go first, whatever you do, because I don't know how long. I don't stand for half an hour and so forth in plank, right? And maybe he will collapse. So let's see where collapsing point, and I just need to beat it by a clear margin, right? So he stood until failure. I think he went up to about 7 minutes or so, right? And I went up to 10 minutes or so, right? I can't remember exactly the timing. So something like that. It was clear. Not only did I beat his margin, then I went another minute and another minute. And he said, okay, I concede. And his eyes were wide. How? I don't look like someone who's a bodybuilder, right? And how do I have so much of strength? What is the basis of my strength? It's like unrealistic. Yes, I could be doing push-ups, crunches, but this guy is working out with the best supplements, right? He, in the boot of his car, in the trunk of his car, has normally around 20 million euro for spending money. He keeps it in a rucksack in the boot of his car. So he goes to a club, he just takes a roll of money, a bundle of money, because he can't carry all the money in his pocket everywhere. So he keeps it in the bag in the car, right? And there he goes with friends, and they have a party, right? And then they drinks on me and whatever it is, right? And young guys, 19-year-old guy, he come from a very wealthy family that are really, that people rumored that, the mafia of the world, right? There's no mafia of the world. They're just the wealthy class of the world, the top league, right? His father was coming from that. And himself, he was in Dubai, of course, for the Dubai nightclub life and tax-free businesses and as a hub, right? I don't know why he was there. They don't discuss the reasons why. But physically, and I'm rubbing shoulders with these type of people. I can, even now as I'm speaking, a prince of Saudi Arabia, wants investment. They won't be able to succeed. If they contact me, I can get 10 in prime locations in a snap within 48 hours, right? I can get it. And my minimum commission is $10 million upwards, right? In that market. So the clients are happy to pay me because I was in that network, became established. My success spoke for itself. My clients came on a referral basis, and they knew what I could do, and I'm used to earning. So people say, you specialize in energy healing. I specialize in critical care, recovery, and terminal illnesses. I'm a big scammer because I'm charging my consultation fee just to speak to me. Consult is $100,000 an hour or a session, and the minimum treatment protocol is 10 treatments, which is a minimum $1 million, and for terminal illnesses, minimum 100 for 100 treatments, which is 10 million US dollar. This is a lot of hard work. I can make 10 million US dollar just by selling a building, right? And I can sell 10 buildings and it make 100 million. And I'm not making 10. I mean, I can make a profit margin on the hotels because I got access to a client base that the people who want to sell don't have access. I have access to both the client who's got that type of money, and I got access to the people who can sell it directly, right? So people who only know the people who can sell, they can become so wealthy, and people who only know the investment become. I knew both sides. I control both. So when I'm controlling both, I can make money on a profit margin instead of I'm not here to make 2% and 1% commission. I'm here making profit. So I can make 100, 150 million dirham, to about 35, 40 million US dollar in one transaction. I currently have a hotel where, and I have a client also that can do it, right? But to close this type of deal takes time. You have to do it full time. So I don't know. I feel I'm past that level, that challenge. I want to go now to the next level, right? And going on to the cash value of billions. How are you going to become cash billionaire and reach $1 trillion status or reach quadrillion dollar? I'm not going to make it selling hotels. Yes, I'll make multiple millions. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have to do something on an international, find a solution for the world, right? And I'm doing a simplified, so it's some product that can appeal to the mass market, right? And I'm offering, I don't want to charge small money. So even that $1 million, I made that because I want to focus more on my platforms, creating my content. I don't want to be wasting my energy. I did waste my energy on healing people to hone my level. And I did 99% of my healing for free, right? I wasn't, because I wanted more the experience of being able to cure terminal or get success in terminal illnesses and critical care recovery and all types of illnesses, right? And that's how I decided to focus and not one, like for 5 decades I'm doing it, right? Honing it with patience as while I'm doing something else. So when I spoke to my friend in the COVID period, he said, why aren't you doing this full time, yoga, meditation? I said, because there's no money in it. I didn't see the perceived value. He said, hey, you are wrong. Now, in the 21st century, currently, he knows people, they are making over $1 billion a year, just passive income from, from the website, he even knows the website, and he's just selling like herbal products and so forth, right? And he's making over $1 billion passively. I said, hey, I'm working for my money. I have to consult, I have to get my client, close the deal, and this guy is making it passively in this field? Really? Wow. So there is potential. Now, previously I always perceived, but I didn't have the experience and expertise of an entrepreneur on the premium level. Now I've got it. I said, hey, I've got experience in building businesses and being successful in building my network and making high-end amounts of money. Let me use that experience and expertise to now build my passion, turn my my avocation into my vocation, right? Turn my passion into my career, right? And I was in a debate team while I was in high school, and I was part of the debating team, and I can't remember exactly what they were debating about, but the term make your avocation into your vocation stuck into my brain all the time. And I said, I knew a lot of people because I'm experienced in business. It's not easy to take your passion and make it into a profitable business. It's not easy. A lot of people have tried it. It doesn't work, right? And I'm teaching yoga and meditation from a long time. I don't want to charge $100 and making a few hundred. I'm making millions, multiple millions in commercial real estate brokerage, right? Why should I waste my time in doing so? I always taught for free. I didn't want to make like $20 and $50 and $10 and $100 a session. And there was someone that I knew was making like, oh, this person is a top healer. She's making 1,200 euro per session in Switzerland, right? It was a lady that I heard about. And to make that type of money, this is not money. You're not doing this to do that, right? But depends on your niche. And I already had clients when I decided to focus. I said, okay, I'll do it full time. From his, right? He was a CEO, he was a billionaire, and you're the CEO of, chairman of 11 companies. He had 11 CEOs under him. One of his companies that was under him was a private charter, a company. They were chartering, private jets for, a certain niche market and so forth. So he owned an airline, right? One of his companies. So this was a guy that I taught him meditation as well. I introduced him and got him passionate about it, and philosophy and so forth. And he never dreamt. Then he always said, "Hey, Osman taught me meditation, right?" And people used to respect my name because I was always down to earth and simple, and I had a good network. So I could raise money, I could get investors, right? In hundreds of millions. I could raise 100 million US dollar easily. I've got the type of investors that got 100. I got investors who can invest 20 billion, right? Easily. And there are people who now, the investors, Google invested 40 billion into Anthropic, right? And I don't know who invested 76 billion into OpenAI, and I think they raised over 126 billion as well in March this year, right? So these are I don't know person to person, but I know people who's got that type of money who can potentially invest, right? And people say, okay, get me, I'll give you a commission. I'm not interested. So I still have my other business services. I never called myself as a commercial real estate broker. I called myself as offering solutions to high-end business owners. So they needed a space in a high-end mall. I could get it. They wanted to buy a 5-star hotel, 10 of them that they can't get in the open market. I could get it. They wanted to get an investment of 100 million US dollars. I could get it, right? Easily, right? The approval, I still got that connection, right? To be able to get that. And so people, wanted to know me, right? So when he said I learned from Osman, it's like it was a big name amongst my circles, right? And it's like strange, like I'm teaching this simple type of thing, like mindfulness, which everyone knows, but I'm teaching it to a premium league people. These people, they don't want to go to a yoga class to a normal person. They want to go to someone who is on their level, right? So someone who is earning whose network is in billions. I currently own a black credit card, right? A black metal credit card, right? So usually you hear in the, I was recently listening to a series on Pocket FM, right? And it was twists of love and this thing. So it's nice. It engages your heart and the emotions and so forth. And it takes my mind away. It was about this character. He gave his card, to pay a bill. And everyone said, oh, to own that card, a metal black card, right? It's the highest level. In my country, the premium black level is the private clients. And there is a level above that for people above the wealthy class, right? There is the wealthy class of people. And then there is the people who's like unlimited earnings. Above that is private wealth. So I'm with one of the biggest banks in my country, and I've got the private wealth. I just received it, couriered to me in January this year. I was so proud to receive it, that a recognition, that I own. I have it now in my wallet, right? It's next to me. That metal black card, private wealth, and it's a metal card. And they said, hey, you can get it in metal also if you want. Of course, immediately, right? They say it costs a lot of money. I said, no problem, whatever it costs. I want to, because I worked hard to attain that status. So people who come to me for critical care recovery or terminal illnesses, I'm charging on a level that I feel is reasonable. I can charge $1 billion. I can charge 10 billion, no problem, right? The people who are, multiple billionaires, if their life is on the line and I can increase the quality of their life and give them more energy, which I've done. People were on their deathbed and they felt better than in over 20 years. I took them backwards in their energy levels 20 years prior, and then I gave them a second protocol and they started to feel amazing energy. That they used to always feel tired by the end of the day, and they're not feeling tired and all that, right? How much do you think they will pay me? Someone who is worth like $1 trillion US, right? Do you think if I say $1 million, that is small pocket change, right? There is another FM, pocket FM serial, Hair in Hiding, right? I'm getting commission for all these things, and I'm not interested in commission of them. I'm not monetizing these things and so forth, right? The Hair in Hiding, so he learns spirituality things and to do energy alignment, right? And he went to this place, and this lady, now himself is a billionaire. He's got in his one car $10 billion US, right? He got so much of cash he can't spend it, right? And he fixed the problem for this one wealthy woman, and she offered him $20 million check. He never even say, I want a fee. He said, no, we are friends and I don't need it. She said, no, I insist, I must give you something, right? And in his mind, he's saying, what am I going to do with $10 million, her $10 million, her $20 million? She feels the high amount of money that she's giving to him. And, it's a worthy fee for him. He's got like over 10. He don't even himself know how many billions his net worth is. I think he was estimating, according to the serial, he was estimated to be a few trillion US dollars. His asset value and so forth, right? It's a fictional, story. So that payment, it didn't even want, even me, people say, I'm charging, because if you go to my website, I speak to people by appointment. And I don't waste my time with people because I'm very busy. I don't have enough time in the day. I'm focusing on writing my books and creating my content free. Free on podcast, free on Spotify, free on, my WordPress site, free, on my YouTube. And then I'm trying to create some paid training programs. Some people, they don't value unless they pay. And so I feel like I can use a marketing strategy and get, but a very cheap price, like $27 for a training program and a video training, a short video training for $47. Not that I want to, I just did some training and working what's the market. I don't want to go, so that sweet spot is $1,100. And people are prepared to pay like the normal end is $2,500 and lower training courses, or the higher end is above $2,500, like to $5,000 and $10,000. And the premium is there's some people like Regan Hillier. She specializes in a consultant for mindfulness consultant, and she's prepared to be your private consultant, a company, right? If you're a business person, she can help you with mindfulness motivation, and as a mindfulness coach for $1 million a year, right? That you can talk to her, for 1 year, it's $1 million, and she feels this is large amounts of money and so forth. And I'm not interested in all that, right? This is not. So her dream, she mentioned it slipped. She wants to be able to make $10 million a month, right? And I'm charging between $2 and $10 million for a premium retail space, in the malls. So when I get a client, they want 5. They have the one of my client. He had I think 10 different concepts, right? Different business concepts. So he wanted it in the top 5 malls. So 5 times 10 is 50. And he was prepared to give me $10 million for each one. 50 times $10 million is $500 million, right? From one client. And the approval takes me 48 hours to get, right? I'm not physically going and doing approvals and getting his profile and writing it. It's just on the phone. Hey, do this. Here's the profile he sent to me in WhatsApp. I sent to my connection in WhatsApp. He does all the work, and I give him $500,000. or 200,000, and I'm making 500 million, right, in dirham, right? Or in dollar, for them, no problem. These are billionaires, multi-billionaires, right? They prepare to pay. They are owning, like the PF Chang's restaurant group is in, I think they've got 300 branches worldwide, right? 300. And I've eaten in PF Chang's as well. Took, people, and, like they feel like it's a high end. It wasn't high end. It was like 100 for a meal for two, with seafood and a skewer and a big king size prawns or langoustines or whatever it is, right? Whatever they wanted, I said, just order, go to town, right? Wasn't very expensive. It was 600. It came to about 600-700 dirham, right? So I just gave 1,000 dirham and told them, keep the change, right? So this is the game. I'm not paying. I'm not after money, wealth, and all. I'm playing the game that I'm on a level. I want to go to the next level. I'm on this level. I want to go to the next level. What is my secret? My secret is yoga. My tool is yoga and meditation. I'm using yoga meditation, and what actually happens is I can see the levels as I'm going up, right? So I recently went, because I can see the frequency, although I'm blind to this world, but I'm not blind to the higher worlds, right? The third eye can see the higher frequencies. My third eye is not fully open, right? It did open and I closed it when I think 2 decades or more than 2 decades ago. 25 years ago or something that happened, because I couldn't handle it, right? And I had some little children and I didn't want to become, and clairaudience came first and then clairvoyance came second, right? So I closed these things. I didn't want to hear these voices speaking to me. I wanted to focus on this platform, on this world, mastering the level that I was on, because I'm born into this game, right? I came as a package, and I'm using yoga to open the package and to awaken my quantum levels, right? And start working with it and honing it above to the next level. And this level, the spiritual levels, is very high. There are grand masters. I'm only master level energy healer. There is grand master level. There is great grand master level. To go from master level to grand master level, I thought, I know yoga, I got enlightenment from the age of 19, I have samadhi experiences daily, I can experience anything, I just have to focus on it for 6 months and I'm going to be on grand master level. I said that 7 years ago. I'm practicing daily, right? 8 to 10 hours a day. I initially thought I would just do like an hour a day, right? Then I bumped it up to 2 hours a day. I bumped it up to 3 hours a day, right? As the years were passing. And then I said, hey, I feel like I'm growing in increments. Yes, I went up over 700. I stopped counting the levels I was increasing in master level. I went up 700 increments in master level, not yet grand master level, right? Grandmaster level is like I'm doing terminal illness recovery energy alignment. It takes me 100-day protocol. They can do it in 2 minutes flat, right? And you can levitate. Grandmaster level is you are able to levitate. Master level, your body vibrates in meditation. So it's like, like a vibration machine. When I sit and I meditate, my body starts vibrating, right? And the first level of professional level healer is your heat is very high in your body and the people are sweating and perspiring. I bypassed that stage because they sweat because the right channel, the Pingala Nadi, right, is not fully cleansed. From childhood, I cleansed my nadis through yoga and breathwork practice. So when it went, it was like a gentle stream. The high energy, instead of me sweating, it came easily through, and I went to the next level of vibration. So when the people are in the they gyrate, they vibrate so hard that the chair is rocking and make a noise in the room. So someone, Peter Mashant, I think, or there was someone, Ego Kasayov. Ego Kasayov, during his Kundalini awakening experience, when he used to attend, meditation classes, so he used to go and sit in the back of the class because when he was in the vibration stage, it's an advanced stage, it was very loud, it'd make a loud noise, he didn't want to disturb others, so he used to always sit in the back. And if he sits on a chair, it's like vibrating, making a noise on the chair. So he is vibrating very hard. That vibration is hard because his nadis are not cleanse. I spend my lifetime, decades cleansing, still daily. Today I spend cleansing, right? On the level that like people wants to go and do dangerous things and make up their own thing. I don't make up my own protocols. I follow established, because there's a Chinese say, if you want to know the way up the mountain, follow him who goes back and forth on it. So the person who in the Tirumular in the Tirumandiram, he gave that thing, I think verse 568 from 572, that the secret to the breath work is 1664-32. Because I knew professional breathwork people, they said minimum is 100, then you can go to 300, and then you can go to 1000. Holding your breath for a count of 1000, and then eventually you can be in the breathless state and hold it, but don't hold your breath more than 21 days in a row. You can do 2 days, 3 days, a full day, in the breathless state. And I used to meditate up to 18 hours a day, so it wasn't actually me feeling 18 hours. I go into that type of samadhi where it's beyond the ego and beyond the concept of time. When you go beyond, it's a non-experience, but you're fully awake, and I can go into it while people say, you may be going to some because you're sitting cross-legged. No, I do it while doing my prayer, standing, bowing, and keep going in and out of it. So in each, 5 times a day that I normally pray, I'm going into it at least about 6, 7 times, or 8 times, or 10 times, right? Each time, right? Because when I stand, I'm going into it. When I bow, I go into it. And when I prostrate, I go into it. When I'm in the sitting position, I go into it. Right? So I'm doing the sequence in the prayer, and I keep going into it, not by choice. It's like involuntarily, right? And I feel I can sing. So this protocol 1664-32 is written. Who is Tirumul? You must know who is the man. He is a man who can levitate because he was able to come out of his body and go into another dead person's body. And because the sheep was crying, there was a shepherd, that the shepherd died, and they were very sad and heartsore. And he felt sore, then he went into a trunk of a tree and left his body in safe so that no one can just find it. And then came out of his body and occupied the body of the dead shepherd. And he took the sheep home, and the sheep was very happy and excited. When he went there, he was confronted with the family and situation, and then he decided to teach them a few things, and he couldn't just come, away, because he wanted to occupy. And when eventually he came back to occupy his own body that was very advanced, right? Someone had found it, and they saw it's a dead body because it's comatose, no breath, no this thing, and it's rigid, it's gone stiff. Because once you leave it, rigor mortis sets in, right? It was in rigor mortis. So they see it as dead, there's no life in it, they burnt it, cremated it. So he had no body. So he had to use this body. That's why it's called Tirumular, or the sacred shepherd. Mular means a shepherd, right? And then he started to progress it, and he reached that high level very quickly because his subtle quantum body, his energy body was already advanced, and his light body was advanced. And he is known to have not died, attained the deathless body, right? So and he left behind writings and like revelations, right? It was very, like how you get people who talk in tongues and got but revelation from someone who's got reputed or rumored to have had a deathless body, and he is saying these revelations. He's connected to that high level. He's giving it. Then I said, no, there must be something. No, and it's also a safe level for everyone to practice, right? And they said, you reach the peak of it when you can do 16 in breath, 64 holding your breath, 32 out, and then before you breathe in again, you hold it for 64 before you breathe in. That's called the box breathing, right? As is proven now recently, I think in 2025 in the University of California, I forgot the name of the professor, right? But the University of California, they documented the box breathing, the benefits of box breathing, in experiments with mice, right? They put in they induced that levels by, injecting them with certain chemicals and so forth. In its effects in longevity, as well as improving your immune system and so forth, right? So I'm on the level, it took me 7 years to reach a level where when I breathe out, because the protocol is only 16, 64, 32. Breathe in for 16, hold for 64, breathe out for 32. And I couldn't hold it for 64 in the bottom. It took me 7 years to reach the level where I could hold it for 64 only few days ago, right? So reaching the next ranks, it's like now reaching the next level and the next level and the next level. So when you're listening to these series, fictional series, but it's based on the Chinese system, right? On energy levels and the grandmaster level and the great grandmaster levels, and is connected to martial arts and strength, right? How I am stronger than, I was in helping a friend in a hotel in Turkey, and the guests were people were traveling through were martial arts professionals and boxing professionals. They fought for money professionally, right? And I beat them to playing challenges. They couldn't beat me, right? So my core strength was higher than professional fighters. There wasn't a single professional fighter. Of course, I never go to the number one. I never go to the UFC to Joe Rogan and challenge Joe. And I think I would like to challenge Joe Rogan and see how he measures up, right? To me, it's like a fun thing, right? It's a game of life. Next challenge, right? Attach it to money. Attach it to your assets. Attach it to what financial status you get in your card, right? Attach it to that. This is the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Don't say, oh, you must be calm, give up attachment. You should not be materialistic. Give up, woman, you leave your marriage, become a sannyasi, become a monk. This is the highest. What is all this? That is boring. It's not for me. That yoga is not for that. It can be used for that, no problem, but it can also be used for normal things as well, right? And the people who's using it in martial arts level, and it's used you can use these spiritual weapons. So now I'm reminded of the Puranic stories in Vedanta, where in the Ramayana they use these psychic weapons. I forgot the name of that weapon. It is stronger than a nuclear weapon and is more advanced than a nuclear weapon. A nuclear weapon destroys everything that's surrounding it. And for, I think, 80 years, there's still radiation in that area, after 80 years, right? 3 generations later, it takes very long for that. The psychic weapon, it's got a stronger power than that, but it's focused without damaging anything else around and causing havoc, but only destroys the target like a missile. So you got a certain individual you want to take out. You psychically can create it. You have the power and you can go and the person is blown to smithereens. There's no evidence of his ever existing. He turns to powder, into ash. He just disappears in front of you, right? So in the, is it the hare in hiding or the outcast? Rise of the Outcast, yes, the Rise of the Outcast. He also got the martial arts powers, and there was someone that with his psychic power, he blew his head, right? So it's fictional story, of course, right? Head blew, and then the body was lying on his property, everyone ran away, and then he used his second power, it made it into dust, and there was no evidence, no dead body. So the people who saw it can't charge him for murder because he never touched the person. So they say you must have peer-to-peer review, clinical testing, clinical environment, all these things, and you have to bring it to the court of law and come say he blew it with his mind. The head blew because he never touched. The enemy was standing in front of him. The head exploded in front of him, right? So it is a phenomenon. It's going to be attributed according to normal science and normal as. So science can't explain these things. Science is not as advanced of it, right? That people can do, right? So they don't talk about a lot of the things, the people that I was, met, and I meet people now from the quantum level, right? So let's call it in my imagination, right? Because the scientific community, and I like to keep my things silent, so it's an but there is a certain dimension you can physically feel, right? So I like it. Someone physically I could feel it, and so when I reached a level, so there is someone from the higher frequencies that's in a humanoid form. I couldn't see because he came in this dimension, and I'm blind to that dimension, that you are. The everyday normal dimension, I'm blind. In my daily practice, I felt they come and do awaken the next level. It has to be someone from a higher frequency that comes and does it to unlock it. It doesn't just auto unlock. There's certain things that needs to be unlocked, by someone else, and they do it either with their mind or their touch. So in order for me, because I can't see them, for me to know that I reached the next level, it was a touch, right? I felt the touch, the hand, and I could feel it's a male hand, right? So sometimes there's female entities and there's male entities. These are not angels. These are humans which reached high levels and reached the deathless body level, and they can appear and disappear at will. They can time travel and all these things according. So even the Puranic story, they said I don't know whether it's real, because people say it's fictional because there's no such thing. And then in the Shaolin temple under which I studied, it was a hidden science. Only now it's coming to, the energy healing that I learned, and it's attributed to the Kung Fu arts. And my teacher, he was able to bring down he was 95 years old, he could bring down 30-year-olds, right? And this is a common thing. There was someone else who also mentioned he had a teacher who wrote a book on feng shui, on qigong, on energy healing. He's an Italian guy from the US that went to China and studied. He also studied under the Shaolin temple, right? So the Shaolin temple, he wasn't a monk. He's the guy that guy studied under. Even the guy that I studied there, or they had wives, right? Young wives, right? They were like 30, 40, 50 years younger than them as well. So they've got their energy levels, right? And they look like mice. Look like a scrawny 5'1", 5'2" skinny guy, but he can blow. Joe Rogan will not be able to match up to him. I don't know. Didn't see. I believe he's well built, and Joe Rogan is now 58 years old, right? So, but I mean, he's fighting a 95-year-old. Fair match, right? Unfair in terms of Joe Rogan, so he might feel that he's too strong, but he won't be able to stand up to these Kung Fu masters who are on grandmaster level. The power is very, very strong. So it is going the next level, right? So me trying to go to grandmaster level, right? I'm struggling. I thought within 2 weeks I'll do it. Then I said, okay, I give myself 6 months max. Impossible that 7 years later, I'm still not on grandmaster level, right? I'm not levitating. Once I'm levitating, then I know, right? But I'm going up the levels there's so many different levels of master level. Some over 700 levels up in master level, energy healer, right? In the thing, but still energy healer master level. Grandmaster, there's so many levels there. So it is so many levels that unlocks. Once you conquer it, you're going higher, and it's going to show in your financial worth or your success and so forth. So I'm been trying to build this business. I mean, the YouTube channel is only now a year, almost a year, few days more. Today is the 17th, on the 24th. in a week's time, 7 days from now, it's going to be 1 year, right? But I've been doing this full time, focusing on developing the energy healing and yoga, advanced yoga meditation as a business, and developing my protocols and chakra and blocking and all that. It took in the last 7 years, right? From 2020, I'm doing this. Full. It's now 2026. If you count 2020, also it's the seventh year, right? Including the year itself that I started, right? And not yet on grandmaster level, right? But I'm now on a level where I started with like minimum 30 minutes, then 1 hour a day. Then after about 3 years, I started to do 2 to 3 hours a day. And then now I'm doing 8 to 10 hours a day, right? Developing this, and I'm starting to see more and more substantive progress, right? Just few days ago, I saw a new light, because you see lights, right, in the energy sphere. So I understood which chakra is matured, right, or reached a certain maturation level, or which nadi, right? And I can see it, and I'm seeing multiple colors, right? And a new one I couldn't explain that appeared, in my right side, like a size of my palm, right? I don't know what it is. It's like a soft white, bright light, and then a bright ice white light appeared few days ago on the right side. And it's not on 24/7. The one on the left is like all 99% is on. This one comes on and off intermittently, and then it starts coming on longer and longer periods, right? That I'm seeing, all the time. So currently this one is off, this one is on, and then my front vision has got alternates between the bluish gray and the pinkish red, and then about 2 months ago, it starts to balance 50-50. The Ida and the Pingala Nadi, this is the energy of the frequency of the Ida and the Pingala Nadi. That's the colors when they balance, or I can see they are cleared, the flow is cleared. And then when I'm doing my Kriya practice, raising the Kundalini, I see the dark red, blood red, which looks like blackish to me. Right? Everything turns black. So my screen, all the lights that are on turns black when I'm raising the Kundalini, dropping. Once it's down again I bring it down into the root chakra, then the other lights show, right? Because the blackness overrides those other colors. So, but they're still there, right? And then my whole crown of my head is a multiple colored, beautiful light, like rainbow lights. And then my third eye region is like a diamond sparkling spotlight, like a brilliant white. Is just here, in this, it's on 24/7, right? So I'm seeing all these colors 24/7, this frequency is. It started with only seeing this light 24/7, and I attained enlightenment levels, and I never see any lights or anything, right? And only I started to practice. I started to learn through the internet. There is Tatrika or Tatrika, right? Tratika or something, right? That you can see the different colors, or open your third eye and focus, to do that. And I learned to do that after, then, and I started to practice that, and I noticed that my strategy and my memory started to improve, and how I'm doing things. So you still have to take the spade, and you have to chop wood and carry water. It doesn't mean you don't have to. You have to chop wood, carry water. You have to do the groundwork again. When you're doing, you open a new channel, in the mind you have what level, you have to chop wood and carry water. It's going to take you however long it's going to take me, right? And as you know, in the last 12 months, over 1,000 videos, 1,160 or 70 videos, and 330 some odd podcasts, one follower. But I'm getting views and streams, right? But I opened it on the 16th of February, March, April, from 2 to 8, 6 months. Hi, it's now, yesterday was the 6-month anniversary of my podcast. And about 1,890 streams and downloads, right? In that 6 months. But only one follower. Who's the follower? Me. Only I'm following it. I'm a main, and my channel is my favorite channel, by the way. I like listening to what I say. because there are a lot of things that I say, I'm talking from my heart. Whatever's in my heart, I'm just letting it flow and trying to keep to the topic, right? Because I've got so much of experience in these subjects, right? So when you start looking at life as the ultimate gaming experience, that when you meet a challenge, it's a challenge of that level. Overcome it and then master it and then go to the next level. Go to level 2, go to level 3. I'm on level 700 somewhat in this game, ultimate game of life. I'm using these tools and I'm spending 8 to 10 hours a day plus earning my income and still going. And the result must be in cash flow and your business and you're standing in that niche that you are in. Now I entered the YouTube niche. I'm nobody in YouTube, 73 followers, right? But theoretically, I should dominate it and become number one, theoretically, right? If you put your finger in the water, it's going to become wet. You put your finger in the fire, it's going to get burnt. If you're using the tools of yoga meditation 8 to 10 hours a day to sharpen the sword, and you in the field where you're focusing 100% on developing your YouTube channel, podcast channel, your Kindle books that you are writing, and your platform of your blogging daily, and I'm planning on writing 1,000 books over the next 25 years. I've created the protocol for it. It's starting, I've tested it, it's working. So I'm just refining it a bit to create a balance so that I can do all together, in a balanced flow. And I think I got it, right? I just had to make a few refinements. Last week I made a few refinements in my YouTube channel and my podcast channel, that I'm only creating long form videos every day with unique content from a unique angle. And my asset is, when you go to a doctor, you want to go to a board certified doctor, right? A qualified, board certified and licensed in your locality. So someone can be board certified, right? That he is a doctor, but he can't practice in the state of Texas. He must get licensed to practice in the state of Texas. He may have qualified in Harvard University, but then, like one of my mentors is, okay, we won't mention this person. He's not coming. Brooke Goldner, right? And she's a board certified doctor. She's got a license for Texas, and she's got a license for New York, and I think Florida as well. 3 licenses so far. So there's 50 states in the US. So she needs 50 licenses altogether. So you meet her in Los Angeles, right? You can't get treated by her in Los Angeles because she's not licensed in Los Angeles, right? So there is these certifications and qualifications for different things. In my field of teaching yoga meditation, you can't go to a school and get a certificate in yoga. School is, the goal of yoga is samadhi. It's the first, you must be able to take someone to samadhi. Samadhi is like kindergarten level. So people are struggling. 0.0004% can, if they practice the protocols daily, will attain it. 0.2 means 4 in a million, right? What I believed. And that's why I'm trying to strengthen and make simplified protocols for everyone to follow. And you do 5 minutes per day, right? And then once you start seeing the result, what it's bringing to you, in money, in status and growing up the levels, who doesn't want a black metal card, right? So does it mean guaranteed you get? No, I developed myself, and every field that I was in, I mastered it. Over the decades, from childhood, I'm mastering. I was able to, impossible that someone like me will ever make it into medical school, let alone use that word. I can't even dream of it. I should be shot dead for even mentioning that word. And I made it. What was my secret? Yoga, meditation, plus chopping wood, carrying water, right? These two, right? And then I made it where a client paid me $70,000 as a 22-year-old in the legal field, a client, right? This is, man, this type of guy, imagine as an adult in his mature, as a senior advocate, how much I would have charged. And of course, I want to keep scaling the rungs of the ladder, right, going up. And, as a 22-year-old, how many 22-year-old was able to command? No one that I knew was able to, in my friends and leagues, were in medical school and could command $70,000, right, for 10 minutes, for one session, right? And coming into entrepreneur level, million a month, right? A doctor at best can only earn at best 1 million. Okay, there are lawyers earning, then become billionaire. Billionaire stay. Get a black card. So in this one serial, they said the black card, metal black card, they get it if you're worth only 10 billion US dollars and above generally. Of course, you can get it for other ways, and there are people, but normally, right, the person who's got a metal black card, it's not unrealistic or that he could be worth over 10 billion, right? My assets are worth way above that, right? And so forth. And it's a status that you have, right? But it's not, I'm not working to get the black card. I'm not working to get the billions or the trillions or the first quadrillion dollar person, right? This is not I'm taking life as a challenge. I'm now an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur must have asset value, and then I now need listed value and cash value. I don't have the cash value. I don't have billions in cash. It's zero. Nothing. Not zero, but I don't have, of course I can liquidate, but why? I must have earned cash, earned income, right? In billions, cash flow in billions, right? If I can make 1 billion a month, right, is like kindergarten level on the billion, on that level, right? On that stage. When you become grandmaster, you start with the baby class level. We don't know how many thousands of levels in grandmaster level, right? So treat life like the ultimate, most challenging game. Conquer your challenges and scale up the levels. Use yoga, meditation, and so forth that I teach in the simplified, practical way, where results oriented, right? I've proven the results in myself, and I've got students in over 100 countries, right, over the last 5 decades, right? So start using the simplified ways, and all my content is there. Go through my content, find the methods, and learn the strategies and the thinking, and the actual practices and all that. It's all there, right? And soon I'll be laying out training program that if you don't want the free way and searching, you want it in a formal training way, I'll add that as well, right? You can pay like $27, $47, and then once it's that's the level to penetrate the market, right? So it's going to get more and more expensive as time goes, but it's also available for free, right? It will always be available for free. This spiritual knowledge must be available for free. So if you want the paid version, we'll have some differences, and the free, but because it's free doesn't mean there is some secret in the paid version that's not available. No, it's available. Currently it's available. You can exceed me because I'm not geared for this type of thing, right? In my opinion, right? I'm not naturally intelligent and naturally a good businessman. A lot of people go to Dubai, they learn to make money fast. It took me 9 years before I could crack the market in Dubai. I was, struggling for 9 years. As an entrepreneur, I struggled 6 years before I cracked the entrepreneur. Right? Some people go in and boom, within 6 months they're making money. 5 years later, they're very successful. They sell the company for 5 to 20 million US dollars, right? And then they start investing their millions of dollars in other companies and start scaling into a multi-billion dollar, business and so forth. That didn't happen that way to me, right? I still don't have a multi-billion dollar shareholding company, right? My company is worth zero. Right? My currently registered, which I registered last year, my first 1-year tax return is overdue, and they send me the warning letter. So now I have to focus on that. Zero return, of course, zero profit I made, zero income in the last 12 months. But that's how it goes, right? And using strategies, and I'm in that challenge, right? You can lose, you can be wiped. No such thing as you're going to win, guaranteed a win. You can get wiped out in level 1, right? Right, so you can, but it's very exciting. Life is so exciting that way. And when I got blind, I could finally spend my full time on content creation, because I couldn't go. When I had eyesight, I want to go out, I want to go cold calling companies, visiting companies, offer business solutions to them, because I got connections for almost everything. And a guy got a need, okay, and then I'll arrange it for you, solve your problem. This is the fee. It's exciting, people paying you millions, right? And you're just making millions, and you get tied up in that. So I couldn't go cold calling. I couldn't find someone to take me, every day They could take me for 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 months, or maybe even 1 or 2 years. But when you develop to 1 or 2 years, you need something consistent and reliable that you can do it on your own, right? And 3 years trying to get people to help me creating videos failed, and I kept it, and eventually I'm doing it every day, right? So my success one is over 1,000 videos, right, in my first year. In my first 6 months, over 300 podcasts. So now I'm going quality instead of quantity, and focusing on my book writing, and trying to get as many books out, to try to get a book a week. So in the next year, to have at least 50 books published, right? So it's possible for me to have at least 5 books within the next 30 days or so. 4 to 5 books, if I can have it already, I mean, it's already completely written. To have it and published on Kindle platform is my next challenge, but to have it on published level and then do a book a week, to do a minimum of 40 books a year, right? There's 52 weeks in a year. So I've got sufficient margin, for emergencies to come up and other things to make sure I'm attaining. So 40 books a year over 25 years, 1,000 books. The content and what I want, I've already got it, right? It's in the quantum field. It's in my heart, right? And I'm just talking, and in my experience, 50 years of experience in the same field that I'm so passionate about, and attaining, levels and experience, and training others as well in simplified ways, plenty of experience in it, and trying to bring about solutions to solve the every day-to-day. I want to take society to solve your everyday problem, your current mundane stress and anxiety, right? This is like easy peasy, like a mundane level, right? You are still kindergarten level, right, to solve this problem, and to go to the next level, make yourself economically, successful, and start growing up the ladder, right? And I meet regularly Uber drivers, and they try to increase the hours, working until 1, 2 a.m., right? Trying to work 6, 7 days a week and so forth. And, trying to make, I think one guy was trying to make just over $1,200 a month, right? But in South Africa, that's worth a reasonable amount. He feels is quite successful, doing that. He's not thinking to scale up. But when I spoke to him, he's thinking, can an Uber driver scale up? Yes, there's opportunities. Look for it. Become an AI consultant. Right? Companies want to know how to AI implementation consultant for businesses. Right? There's 300 million businesses that require AI consultants, and there's only about 34,000 or 30 some odd thousand consultants who's qualified, certified for it. The need is going to take at least 12 years before there's going to be enough to service the need. So it is a blue sea, right? It's a blue market, not a red market, right? You're entering now in the beginning stage. I mean, people can expect within a year period to be able to, once you said, it takes about 12 to 16 weeks to be certified, right? To get the 3 relevant certifications for AI consultant, and you can earn, reasonably, you can earn between 2.5 to 3.5 million US dollar in a year, compared to $1,200 a month, right? A person who's an Uber driver can do it. You don't need a university degree. You don't even need a high school diploma. You can come with zero knowledge. You can certify it, and you get help in the marketing and everything, and you can get into it, and you can become a millionaire, right? So where there's a will, there's a way. Whatever the mind can conceive, conceive and believe, it will achieve. I've proven it over and over and over. Never a time you're going to experience a challenge greater than your ability to bear is a word from the book of Matthew in the Bible that a guy who was very devout Christian told me. I said, okay, I believe that the Bible is the word of God, or it is a spiritual book. I don't think it's possible that he's not talking nonsense, but it's a very amazing thing. I may try to test it. And no matter what challenge I came to, I found that I was able to overcome it. When I became blind, I saw the positive side of it. Now I can focus on my, business full time, not be distracted with, other income to feed my living expenses while I'm building this business. Now I'm able to do it full time and focus on, and it's a very time consuming thing. I don't even have 1 second to lose. There's not enough. Now I have to prioritize 7 to 9 hours, and a red line is 6 hours sleep, right? Prioritizing that. Last night I had to struggle to get that because I had so many things to do and so many things are so urgent, and I did it in 3.5 hours, 1.5 hours, and 1 hour, right, to get the red line of 6 hours, right? So it was 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and 3.5 hours. I forced myself to sleep that 3.5 hours more before I started, this thing. And there is someone that I phone every morning at 9 a.m., to start my day, that I talk to, and like a sounding board, right? He listens to me and he's got the patience to listen to me, and also my best friend currently. And I had to send him a message for the first time this morning. No, I didn't have enough sleep yet. I'll call you a little later, right? And once I felt satisfied, I got the red line 6 hours, then I started my day and this thing, right? And I'm starting with creating this video that I'm talking to. So I'm prioritizing my sleep, I'm prioritizing my nutrition, and I'm prioritizing my exercise. I'm prioritizing what I'm doing, who I am, and my tribe and territory, right? My online territory, who I'm listening to most often, and even the fictional entertainment that I'm listening to on Pocket FM is about people who's advanced in spiritual energy sciences. Fictional energy, it's like motivating me, right? Because I'm not alone, because this is a lonely field when you're in a higher, on master level. You're trying to reach grandmaster level, right? To motivate me to reach those levels, right? So you can start from the bottom and start scaling your challenges. What is you already are in life. You are alive. Maybe your challenge is you want to get over your anxiety and stress. You want to earn enough money to be able to afford the food that you should be eating, because people are struggling to buy organic foods, or the foods, or to treat themselves to a restaurant, to eat once a month, and then eat whenever they feel like. Every meal you can eat out in a restaurant of your choice, right? Or buy the type of cars you wanted, right? And start scaling up. Buy the house, buy your dream house, have your dream wife, have your dream woman, right? I had all that, right? My dream woman, my dream houses, my dream income, my dream card came, right? Now I must own a list. I must get my company listed on the New York Stock Exchange, right? I have to reach those levels, right? Coming from a country that hardly anyone knew what the country was. They didn't know South Africa is this thing, and that in my town, no one, even in my own country, they don't know, right? Even in my own city, they don't know the stuff that I come from, right? From an unknown remote place, right? Going up, got a black card. When I'm waiting in the airport, I'm waiting in the private lounge, right? I'm waiting, in the normal, the waiting area for the flight, and ordering whatever, and that is just out of choice. And I'm not going there because I'm going. I just got more quiet. It's a more comfortable seating, right? And I just normally I take a coffee. I'm not there to eat. I'm watch what I eat. I got my meals, and then if I want to have a snack or something, yes, it's available, right? There's a buffet available that in the private lounge. And I'm a blind person. I look simple. I'm dressed the same. I'm dressed like a nobody, right? I'm from a nobody country. I've got a nobody channel, 73 subscribers to my channel, right? And I'm talking, but hardly anyone is on my level who's listening to my channel, right? And people push back against me, and they talk and say you shouldn't be saying. I got so much of experience in this field. I know what I'm saying when I give a comment, and I decide to stop giving comments. I don't listen to these people's stories, pushing back, and they stop idiot comments, and they like without respect. And I always mention there, okay, I've got so much experience and I've got this level. They say, they even push back. Now you trying to say you're so high and mighty, you're making us all feel stupid. And I'm trying to teach them, and I want them to come up. I want them to have the success that I had. I want them to have the relationship, to have the dream woman, right? That I was beyond my dreams I had, and to have the relationships, so amazing people I had relationships with, to have the financial successes that was beyond my dreams, right? And to have the financial status was beyond, I never even dream of that financial status, right? And to have the strength, health strength and protocol and so forth, I never dreamt I would be able to come to that level, right? And now I'm on a level I never dreamt I'd be. And these are all new goals that I have to create. And I'm seeing it as the game of the ultimate reality. The Matrix, I was told, is not really a movie, fictional. It should be called a documentary. It should, of course, it's a fictional movie, but it should be called a documentary. For those who are studying quantum physics, for those like Professor Bruce Lipton, he's brucelipton.com. He is the associate professor with tenure in Ivy League University, Wisconsin University, in the Medical University, associate professor of anatomy between 1972 and 1980, or 1973 and 1982, right? And he decided tenure means they can't fire him, right? So he left that to focus on his own research and so forth. So he's proven the quantum relation between every cell of the human body, right? And his research and so on. He was the one who mentioned, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, that the Matrix should not be called a fictional movie, it should be called a documentary, right? And you start coming to this, and so people, like for example, in the DMT experience, right? People go into it and they say that experience is more real than this. This is a dream. That is reality, right? So I'm experiencing that without DMT. I never tried a psychedelic. I'm having the psychedelic experiences in advanced yoga naturally, developing in very slow increment. Took me decades upon decades to just reach, certain levels, right? And I wasn't aiming it. This came as a side effect, right? I was aiming to live my life, and I was challenged, just to go to the next level and the next level, right? I was challenged to be able to make it to medical university. Now I'm challenged to monetize to make my YouTube channel worthy to say it's a YouTube channel. I've got over 1,000 videos, only 73 subscribers. What is that? It is like, I should be ashamed, what people, but I'm not. I got my tool, my two tools, my yoga tool, and my carrying the chopping wood, carrying water. I'm doing that, right? And devising strategy. I'm going to attain the goal or die trying, right? So like that, if you treat life more as the ultimate gaming, because the number one trending YouTube channel is a gaming channel, The Beast. Right? It's like gaming. They got this game and that game. You're going to win $1 million, and he puts up big prize money as well. On the principles of gaming is like, I don't know how many million subscribers. Number one, right? And what I know is his income is 700 million a year. Okay, not big money a year, 700 million. So he feels he's successful, but I mean he's on a level, right? He's not. And for me, billion a month is like kindergarten level now, that I want to attain, and then go from there upwards, right? I mean, Elon Musk is potentially going to be, or if not already, first trillionaire, right? It's $1 trillion company, right? I mean, not first. Apple was the first, but he exceeded Apple, the top company, top wealthiest person, right? With SpaceX and Tesla. Right, his net worth and so forth. So we're not saying make it materialistic. Maybe everyone is got their own heartfelt desire. This is what makes you different from an AI. They got no feeling. They haven't got that drive, and they haven't got lateral thinking. They can only think linear fashion with what data they have. They can't think out of the box. You cannot take an AI and make a CEO. CEO needs to be able to think strategically and laterally. Of course, AI can follow the rules, but not CEO level for the challenges of business. So I never liquidated any company, in my last 30 years. I'm decided to become self-employed. I'm still self-employed 30 years later without any liquidating. So I'm one up above Donald Trump, my mentor. He liquidated a company. One of his first liquidations were 20 billion US dollar. So I was proud that he could be in debt for 20 billion, right? And then he's worth, I think, about 5 billion US dollar, right? In audited, on an audited level. On an audited level, I'm not worth that. But if I need to audit and declare, and I don't want to declare and have a make myself a target, and that now you're known, and then I must, employ a security detail 24/7. Already there's so many people want to kill me and so forth. Once you're in a higher league and dealing with the higher, when a deal goes wrong, people, disgruntled clients, they are, on a level where their egos are so high that they want to just kill you to teach you a lesson, right? Although you're not guilty or you never do anything wrong, want to kill you and your whole family and including your goldfish, right? You're dealing with people on that level, right? When you're making money. So making money is a dangerous level as well, right? So whatever it is, so people are interested in money, they're interested in love, interested in relationships, interested in creating a stable income that they can be comfortable, with just the family, and be able to provide for them. And this thing is also, you use that to grow that, your relationships with your family, focus on that. And my focus was on my career and my business and growing that, right? And helping people. My main fundamental passion when I was a child, I wanted to always help people. That's why I decided to become a doctor, that I thought I can help. Then I said, no, become a lawyer, I can help people in their legal problems. And I'm very good at it. That's why people paid me top dollar, right? And then I went into a residential real estate. And then I started to earn $1 million a month because I was able to produce to the mass market affordable, amazing properties that I put a small profit in, and I found a formula that managed to get it. So I worked on formula, and then I went into earning millions, per transaction, right? Minimum 2 to maybe 10 million and above, right? For retail spaces, premium retail spaces, and minimum 10 million and above in US dollar value. Still, now I'm stopped. I'm focusing fully on this business. And even in this business, if someone wants terminal illnesses, to engage my energy healing service for critical care recovery is 1 million US dollar minimum, and terminal illnesses 10 million US dollar minimum. Take it or leave it. I'm not even really interested in the client. I'm greedy for money, and that's not the reason why I'm creating that field. Because my network, I'm dealing with these type of people. They feel nothing to pay, and they have paid me this type of money, right? And I'm used to earning this type of income. I don't need this income. If I get 0 clients in my energy healing for the rest of my life, I'll be happy, because I'm using my energy to build my business. So if I'm using it to heal someone, I'm losing the energy. And my business development and my power in my rise to power is slowed down by me giving it to help to save someone's life. But I always feel saving a life is more important than money or rising to power. That's why I keep it there. I've got the ability, but I'll keep it to my niche, right? The niche that I'm used to, right? So I hope you start seeing yoga meditation in a different light. And there are amazing levels, right? I'm telling you, in master level, I can feel, I can calculate the levels. There's a way you can actually intrinsically feel it and see it. In energy lights and the frequencies, you see it. You can see the frequencies, right? And as you're going up, climbing the ladder, you see it, and you can even feel it energetically. The rise in that power inside your body, how it vibrates, and you can feel how you can control things, circumstances and environment. And when I felt the area that I was in, that I had a dream that it's because they were having water cuts, and I'm wondering, the reason, because the reservoir was getting emptied out. The community was using the water faster than the rate at which it could fill up. So they have to cut it every week to allow it to come to a certain minimum level before the people can continue draining it. And when I thought maybe the community, the town planning was wrong, they have to build more pipes to fill the reservoir from the original dams and so forth, because I felt there's no shortage. But I had a dream that the rivers are drying up and there's not enough rainfall. Then I started to intentionally pray for rain, and so immediately within a few days it started to rain. And then it in that town they don't get winter rainfall, right? And it was getting rain in winter. It was like wow. And 3 days in a row roads were flooded, like and so forth. And then I said, okay, now the rivers are not empty anymore, right? And it can lead to harm and flooding and ruining people's homes as well. So I don't know whether it is mine, but I thought of it intentionally that this needs to happen, and it started to happen, right? So I can't directly control. There are people that are reputed in history from Tibetan Buddhism that there was the Chinese army trying to come up a hill to come to the monastery. They couldn't climb it because there was heavy hail and wind and storms. So there was someone advanced that had the power to call upon thunderstorms and have control over the environment. They said that. And there were some armies that was in the north of India. I think about a couple of 100 years ago it happened, where 100,000 soldiers disappeared, right? And they only found the horses and traces of blood. Their uniform eaten up, disappeared. They don't know till today what happened to them. They said it's a fictional story, and the town is still existing, and it was never conquered by the Mughal dynasty, I think, right? They couldn't. It was one of the unconquered things. They were afraid. So all these stories and rumors you hear, this is like an amazing thing going upper and upper level in using yoga meditation, game of life, and eventually like to reach the deathless body is the next. To get into levitation means you are now on the kindergarten level of the deathless body, and you can now successfully attain the deathless body. It's possible for you to attain the deathless body when you can get the power of levitation, and the power of levitation comes after the power of vibration, right? Your body vibrates in meditation. So there's 3 levels. Your body overheats, perspiration, right, profusely, then vibration, and then levitation, right? So I need to get to levitation stage. That's my next challenge, right? And must concurrently be in my business, because I'm an entrepreneur. My bottom line, I'm not a yoga meditation teacher. I'm also yoga meditation at master level energy healer, but my foundation, I have like 2 eyes. I used to always be torn between religion, and I attributed yoga and meditation to religion in those years, right? Now I know it's just a scientific technology. And my entrepreneurship passion, my heart was always like I was burning passion to be successful in business and keep scaling the business ladder and scaling the religious ladder, and to know what is the concept of God. And I know all that now, right? I understand it, and I know inconceivable, and I had the experience of inconceivability, right? And I know what that is as well. And now I'm tying it to the yoga and meditation as a technology for improving all aspects of your life, or the aspects you want to improve. It is an amazing tool that if you combine it with chopping wood and carrying water and strategy, you can, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. A lot of people conceive things in the mind, it's fiction, it's science fiction, you can't attain it. No, you can. You think Elon Musk listened to other people, said, no, science fiction? No, he don't believe. He believes we can create a community. In Mars, he is going for it. I mean, he reached #1, wealthiest person. But he's not interested in becoming #1 wealthiest person. That is not his interest, right? You can see from his lifestyle. He sleeps on the floor of his office very often, right? And he is very passionate about his work. He's living his life like a gaming experience. The next challenge is quest for 0 defect in the parts of the rocket, and that each engineer must put his name on that part that he's in charge of. So when something fails, they know which engineer was involved, because he got all these engineers. He won the names, in the rocket parts, of the engineer was beside perfecting that part, right? Mainly to know who to fire. who to scream at, which engineer, right? And so forth, right? So he's taking it as a gaming. The Mr. Beast, he's got his channel as a gaming experience. Me, I took life as a gaming experience and growing up. And even now that I'm on this platform, it's not because I want to become the number one YouTuber, the number one podcast. No, it's the part of the gaming experience, right? Bringing the challenge to bring the simplified